Greetings, fellow Star Trek Starship Collector. This is Joshua Mitchell. This month we're back with Episode 7 in Fanhome's diecast Star Trek Official Starships Collection series. This is the U.S.S. Titan, NCC-80102. This is Captain Riker's ship as seen on screen in Star Trek Lower Decks. However, the detailing of this ship is done in the form of Star Trek Picard Season 3. So we'll open it up, unbox it together, take a look at the details of the vessel, and then we'll also compare it in size and detail to the Eaglemoss Lower Decks Titan and to some of the other vessels that have come so far in Fanhome series. So let's get started. Okay, so here we go. Let's go ahead and open up our box with the Titan. Very weird that they decided to go for a style that we never actually see on screen. This, of course, didn't appear in Star Trek Picard. There had been some thought maybe that they were going to do a U.S.S. Luna, since that does show on one of the screens. But okay, so always we are starting first with our little booklet here on the U.S.S. Titan. Let's go ahead and take a look and see what we've got inside. The U.S.S. Titan was captained initially by William T. Riker. The ship was in service from 2379 until 2398 after it suffered extensive damage. The ship was a long-range tactical vessel armed with phasers, photon, and quantum torpedoes, and was often used to test experimental technology. The Titan was fitted with a sensor pod on the dorsal side of the ship, and many of the components and computer systems were used in construction of her successor, the Neo-Constitution-class Titan A. This vessel was designed as part of a contest for the book series that was out in the late aughts, and there were many concepts doodled before arriving at the final design. The design that did win ultimately appeared in Star Trek Online starting in 2010, and that same digital model was then remastered and sent for use in Lower Decks, where the style of the vessel changed to match the animated aesthetic. While this version of the Titan never did make it to the silver screen, versions of the Luna-class vessel using this very look were used for the Frontier Day scenes in Star Trek Picard Season 3. Okay, well, always interesting to kind of take a look at the design doc, the thinking process behind how they created the ship, and see some of those details. But now let's take a look at the ship itself. So let's take this off here, and she looks like she's intact. So we've got our USS Titan, very nice right there, a little slippery in the box. Stand is good. Let's take her out. Wow, the first thing I notice immediately is how light it is compared to the Lower Decks vessel. It feels like it's pretty much all plastic here on the underside, and of course the engines. I do like that the warp nacelles aren't painted on, that it's the actual clear plastic here. Same for the deflector dish, which I think is an improvement over the Eaglemoss version. Nice details. Definitely looks like the more modern Federation ships from Star Trek Picard's kind of era, or the era before where this came from. The sensor array is also plastic, so yeah, nice details. Let's go ahead and we'll take a deeper look at some of the details of the ship and get up close and personal and kind of see what we got. We'll begin our close-up of the Titan by taking a look at the dorsal saucer. You can see a nice contrast of color here with the gold, various escape pods, and the registry. What's really nice is that the windows here are just painted on, no notches, so we don't have to worry about them being off the mark. As we continue on to the sensor pod, you can see, again, beautiful color. The Starfleet blue there kind of makes me think of the Enterprise A. And then traveling further back, here we've got the support struts for the nacelles, and the shuttle bay, which actually looks really cool and detailed when you get up close and take a look at that. They did a very nice job with the decoration and the design here. Flipping over to the ventral side here, we're looking at the saucer. Again, nice and clean with good Aztecing. We can see the escape pods. Again, windows painted on, no notches. They did nice with the acrylic plastic here. You can see the deflector looks really crisp and cool. Same with the ram scoops and the end of the warp nacelles there. And then as we carry along the rest of the primary hull, some nice detailing and decoration. The warp engines again look great here using that clear plastic instead of being painted on, which could make for some really nice lighting setups. So crisp, clean, just like what you would expect from a Federation ship. I thought I would throw in some comparison stills of the Lower Decks version versus the Fanhome version. Clearly you can see a big difference in the colors and the details. No Aztecing on the Lower Decks version. Which carries out through the entire top of the ship. Just not quite as detailed, although I really like the purple color because that matches the Lower Decks animated style. But clearly a difference in the warp engines. Here you can see the clear plastic on the Fanhome version versus what you get on the Eagle Moss version here, where everything's painted on. It still looks okay, but I think it looks much better having that clear plastic. Now here on the ventral side, comparing the two ships, you can see a clear difference in the deflector dish, more solid on the lower decks versus the Fanhome model. And the same thing with the details. More details on the Fanhome ship versus the lower deck ship. No Aztecing, the difference in the colors, the difference in the paint style versus plastic. And I liked this particular angle, as you kind of get to see some difference between the Fanhome series here with the deflector dish and the engines, and then there again is the Eagle Moss version of the lower deck ship. And we'll go ahead and cap it off. Here's a nice overview shot of the new Titan from the front as if it were heading towards you, and then from the port side as well, giving it a nice profile shot. So now we'll do our size comparison, starting with the Eagle Moss Titan versus the new Titan. The new Titan is coming in at 7 3/4 inches, or 19.69 centimeters, and the lower decks Titan is 8 3/4 inches, or 22.23 centimeters, so quite a size difference between the two. Moving on from here, next we'll take a look at the Titan against the Titan A, also from Fanhome. The Titan A is 8 5/8 inches, or 21.9 centimeters, and the new Titan is 7 3/4 inches, or 19.69 centimeters. So not a terrible difference in size here between the two of them. We'll move on now from here and compare the Titan to the XL Enterprise F. So again, the Titan is 7 3/4 inches, 19.69 centimeters, and the Enterprise F is coming in at 10.5 inches, 26.67 centimeters. We'd expect a big size difference between a regular and XL. Still a little surprised overall, though, at the smaller size of the Titan. So there we have it, the USS Titan NCC-80102, Captain Riker's ship, as seen on lower decks, but in the version detailing of Star Trek Picard Season 3, which is an interesting way to go. It's notably smaller than the Eagle Moss Lower Decks version, which means it's also lighter. They use plastic in some places that it was die-cast over on this ship, so that also has something to do with it. I do think that there are improvements with this Titan. While I wish it were bigger, it does look really great. The Aztecing, the coloring and detail, some of the contrast of colors, both on the top and the bottom of the ship. And then I think the warp engines are much improved. Having that clear acrylics, that way you can maybe get some lighting set up. It certainly looks better than the painted nacelles on the Eagle Moss Lower Decks version. I'm torn. I don't know if I want it in my collection or not. I'll have to think about it, but it definitely matches up well with the other Picard era ships and would make a fine addition as a Federation starship, especially one so notable as Captain Riker's vessel. So there we go. What do you think about it? Let me know in the comments down below. And if you want to get your hands on it once it's available outside of the subscription service, I certainly hope you can. You can hit up the links that are in the description of the video. Very good. We'll come back next month. Very exciting. We have the next XL model from Fanhome. We'll be looking at the Enterprise G, the Constitution 3 class vessel. We'll compare it with the Titan and the Enterprise F XL model that they've previously done, see how it stacks up. So I hope you can come back and take a look at that thing. In the meantime, I'm Joshua Mitchell. Live long and prosper.